Okay, well, welcome, ladies, to the Magic of Healthy Movement. This is one of my free master classes. This is my 12th one. I love doing my master classes because I get to have amazing guest experts come on, and we're going to have a great conversation today. So basically what we're doing is we're going to have a few topics. We're going to go back and forth. There'll be time for question and answers. And, I just want to also know what you want to know. And thanks, while I was kind of searching around to find Chris, putting in there where you're from. And also, if you want to, what do you want to know today? What is it that you're here for? To learn. So I'm Dr. Erin Foley, and I'll just give my introduction right now, and then we're going to do Chris's introduction, and then we'll get right into our topics. But I'm Dr. Erin Foley, and I'm a functional medicine practitioner. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and I help women balance their hormones naturally. And I do that with working with women, whether you're 35 or you're 75, you still have hormones. It's not just about hot flashes and PMS. It's about all the other things. It's about the energy, the weight, the sleep, mood, gut health, all those things. Now, my background is as a chiropractor. And so this is a really important topic for me because I spent years working on people who either had injuries and they couldn't move, and what that does to your body. And so this is what we're going to talk about today. But so I have my own perspective there. So why am I doing this class? Because I've had my own journey with movement and exercise. When I was younger and in my 20s, I was an athlete, and I did triathlons, and I did, the running, the biking, the swimming. I did all the things, and I over-exercised, and I injured myself. I don't have a runner's body. I should never have been a runner. I was a really good skier. I had a lot of injuries. So I had a lot of injuries because I overdid it. And I think that was in my 20s. So when I got into my 30s, I had to deal with the fact that I was injured and I couldn't do the exercise that I wanted to do. And that really messes with you. I mean, that mentally and emotionally and physically, if you can't move your body. And so really what I really want to bring to this is my own perspective of my own journey too. I had a really horrible injury 3 years ago, and I'm grateful I'm not disabled from it, but I had to learn to walk again, and I had to recreate, my fitness. And I'm actually really, really good, but I worked really hard because it really made me realize how important movement is. But you have to create it for yourself, what works for you. Also, as a chiropractor, I saw so many injured patients that that was a really good perspective of doing movement that works for your body at your age and feeling good about it and feeling good about our bodies. So that's a little bit about me. Let's see if I missed anything else. My favorite body movements now, I love yoga. There's so many different kinds of yoga, which Pilates helped me rehab. But I'm actually able to do one of the things I love the most, which is hiking our high mountains in Colorado. And after my injury a few years ago, I didn't know if I'd ever be able to do that again. So I don't know about skiing because my injury came from slipping and falling on the ice. So I had a meeting today for the Denver Polka Dots, and I didn't go because it's like, oh, there's a parking lot out there with ice in it. So I'm still a little freaked out about that. But I do think that it's a journey until we die. Have you ever seen those like the stories of these women who are like 85 and they're still like a yoga instructor, and they're more flexible than I am. And it's like so impressive. And a lot of that comes from here. And we're going to talk about that too today. So that's a little bit about me, my story. And I connect with these wonderful women and guests who have lots to share. And we're going to introduce Chris now, and then we're going to get into our topics. And again, if you have anything that you're really looking to learn from today, just put it in the chat, and there'll be time for questions later. And I am looking for Chris's bio. Well, I'll go ahead and introduce you, Chris, and then you can tell your story. How's that sound?
Thank you.
So Chris Dyer, it sounds like you all know her, is an intuitive breakthrough coach for entrepreneurs, offering a unique experience of training and self-healing modalities to create lasting impact and results for her clients. She is a certified health, life, and leadership coach and a personal trainer with over 30 plus years of experience with clinical education, leadership, sales, marketing, and entrepreneurship. She's a national best-selling author, an international speaker, and legacy creator in her other businesses. And I will say that we are both international best-selling authors, and here's our book. We are both in the same book. It's called Jumpstart Your, and we each have a chapter. And mine is Jumpstart Your Hormones, and hers is Jumpstart Your Radiant Lifestyle. So, this is just one of the things that we got to collaborate on with other authors. And so that is a little bio, and go ahead, Chris, and you go ahead and take it away and tell us about you and your why and what you're going to tell us today.
No, thank you, Erin, and I truly am privileged to be here with you, ladies. This is what I love to do. I am a teacher. I'm an educator at heart, and so when I've had the opportunity to kind of zoom out and evaluate my lifeline, two things really stick out more than anything else. I mean, yes, I've been a mother. I've raised family. I got promoted to grandmother. And you might see I'm actually wearing an AARP shirt because I actually volunteer for the AARP because I have that perspective of working with older adults. But the thing is the perspective of working with individuals in a classroom setting or even one-on-one, it's what Dr. Erin sort of hit on earlier, perspective of really knowing what's truly important. And I've had the privilege of working with a group of adults, and you get to observe and evaluate those that come into the room that are like with all this amazing energy. I mean, they're doing over and above what you're doing on the stage to lead a class. And I mean, they're coming to 2 or 3 classes and they can move and dance and jump and do all the things. And I had this one class in particular, and this woman came up to me and she was bragging to me. She had just signed up for pole dancing classes, and she's 75 years old. I was like, yes, please. That's who I want to be when I grow up. Yeah. And then you have the other end of the perspective of the spectrum is like people who come in the door. You can tell they're challenged at moving their bodies in ways that we take for granted. Doing basic body movements, even coordination, flexibility, coordination. All those things decline as we get older, ladies. And that's just a fact of the human design and human experience. And there was a sign today that I saw that sort of disturbed me a little bit. And it says, disease is a human condition that we're trying to learn or get away from. And I sort of disagree with that. We don't have to live with disease. Mm-hmm. Disease is a result of not fully advocating or taking advantage of, advocating for ourselves in our own environment, creating our own environment. So my background in the health and sciences of as an educator before, and then I didn't start into the health and physical fitness part of my journey till I was 40 years old. So that's actually a very remarkable part of my story. And some of these ladies know me at the time I turned 40. That's really when I started taking full account of moving my body, and it was as much mental as it was physical. And being consistent most of the time, moving your body isn't about perfection, right? It's about being physical, moving your body most days of the week. And American Health Association recommends 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week at a minimum. So we should be going on those walks at least 30 minutes at a time, or putting on the music and dancing in your house while you're cleaning. And so, I'm going to break it down to some pretty basics for you, but we like to overcomplicate things. Anybody in the room really think we just really have to overcomplicate, adding all these distractions? Oh, I have to go do CrossFit for 90 minutes a day to be healthy. And we put these expectations on ourselves because we're comparing ourselves to other people and judging. It's like, oh, that's too hard. That's too difficult. I could never be like that. And ladies, my job here for you today is to really bring it down to basics, truly ABCs. And when we remove the distractions, and give our body the 5 basic things it needs. The body is an amazing organism in itself that has the capacity to heal itself when you give it just what it needs. So the first one is oxygen. No life exists on Earth without oxygen, and that's free, and that's for all of us. And it's underrated. And so when we think about oxygen, you know, we can only live for 4 minutes without it. We can live for 4 weeks without food, but we can live with 4 minutes without oxygen. And so when we think about that basic human need, we do that automatically, subconsciously. But then we also, when we're in a stress situation, fight or flight, we'll hold our breath. Have you ever caught yourself holding your breath when you're in stress? So I would like for you to kind of sit up in your chair, kind of roll your shoulders back and relax them away from your ears. Take a deep breath and exhale. And just the simple exhalation actually lowers your heart rate and your blood pressure. And so being more intentional with how you breathe and even your posture while you're breathing, you know, sitting up tall, expanding your lungs, it allows your diaphragm to fully expand. And it's a relaxation exercise that you can do anytime in your chair, in your car, in front of your desk. Even when you get triggered or activated by something that could ruffle your feathers, it's like, that's a good time to take a pause and take a breath. Such an underrated exercise that's there for all of us. But what I love to also do is, I know we're not supposed to multitask, and yet we have the capacity to, when we're doing our journaling or meditating, intentional breathing. When we're exercising, we're breathing. When we put on music and we have a tempo and a rhythm or a walk, we can inhale and exhale with each movement. And that's actually a way to regulate the nervous system, quieting the fight or flight response and relaxing our heart rate and our blood pressure. So oxygen is number 1. Number 2 is water, the second basic element your body needs, right? So our brains are 80% water, our bodies are 75% water. We need just clean, unfiltered, well, or filtered, right? Nothing added, plain good old hydration. Everything functions more cleanly, more effortlessly. You have clearer complexion, right? Easier digestion, all the things. Number 3, and this, I'm sure Dr. Aaron will talk about this, is healthy, clean nutrition, right? Things that nature gave us, the abundance of fresh produce, fresh things that aren't processed in a plant, things that don't have added chemicals, cooking foods at their most basic element, right? Basic protein without all the breading, without all the fillers, things that don't come in a box and a can. And Dr. Aaron can help you with that. There's tons of recipes, and I don't subscribe to a diet lifestyle. Just eat clean, regular food. Everything your body needs was produced by nature. It doesn't need to come in a pill or a potion. And there's lots of resources, lots of people to offer recipes to make it clean and easy and uncomplicated. So it doesn't need to be complicated. A piece of chicken and some vegetables, right? A little bit of fruit here and there mixed in. And it's the added preservatives, the added salts, the added sugars of all the processed foods is what creates a environment for dis-ease in our body. So that's anything else is a distraction. And what I love to tell my training clients is shop the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Everything you need for basic sustainability, you can find in your produce aisle, in your dairy, in your eggs, proteins, meats, right? Stay out of the frozen foods unless it's vegetables or fruit, maybe meat at its unprocessed form. But in general, shop the perimeter. There's a misnomer that it costs more money to eat clean, and that is exactly not true, because if you're investing in real food, you're not spending that money on things that aren't serving your body, that aren't helping you get to that healthy body functionality. So number 4 is movement. And this is the one that we'll talk more about. This is what Dr. Aaron has asked me to come and talk to you about. And one that gives me the vitality and the zest and the capacity to do the multiple things that I'm doing. A movement that's appropriate for your body in the current state that it is, right? If you haven't been exercising, if you are deconditioned, there's no shame or guilt or blame, right? Let's have some compassion first, number one, okay? And then what's the next first step that we can do to get you excited about, I get to move my body. I have, thankfully, you know, we all of our parts are moving. I mean, imagine you have a gift. Our bodies were made to move. And that's the gift you give yourself, is moving your body. Don't overcomplicate it, right? You have to crawl before you can walk, before you can run, okay? If you have a buddy, get an accountability partner, call them on the phone, put your headphones on, go for a walk with your buddy, have a conversation on the phone. In addition to moving your body, I'm also very much about human connection and connectivity. So do them together. Put on some music, dance. You know, all these things that I'm prescribing, recommending, don't cost money. You don't have to go get a gym membership, okay? Putting on your favorite music automatically is going to elevate your mood and your frequency. And it's going to make you want to move your body. So create your own success playlist. Create a playlist of music that inspires you to want to move your body. If you don't want to go outside, walk around your house, you can walk stairs, you can turn on a YouTube video, you could do walking exercises in your house. But I'm also going to talk about preserving your muscle mass. So every decade after 30 years old, we lose 5 to 10% of our body mass. You know, 10 years ago, we were told it was 10%. More recently, I read it was 5%. So somewhere between 5 and 10%. You know, when you're a teacher, you're also a good student. You're always staying current with information that's relevant. So you stay current so you can educate properly. Preserving our muscle mass also increases our metabolism. So you burn more calories at rest. Okay. And increasing your muscle mass also is more important than a number on the scale, right? Because muscle does weigh more than fat. I'd like for you to adhere to healthy body, not a number on the scale, okay? Never let a number on the scale determine your only healthy value, okay? Increase in metabolism, so you're burning more calories at rest. And when you do engage in some resistance training to preserve your muscle mass, you're actually increasing that metabolism for more hours, several hours, in fact, after you complete that exercise. Okay, so when you go for a walk or you go for a run, your metabolism only goes up during that time that you're actually engaged in the exercise, and then it goes back to its resting metabolic rate. Okay, so increasing that muscle mass. You're not going to be a weightlifter. You're not going to be muscle bound. That's just genetically not possible for women. So whatever you're thinking, you can dismiss that right away. Women genetically are not predisposed to pack on weight unless you're doing some other supplementation, which is not recommended because that creates a whole nother subset of complications. But, you know, there's plenty of people, you leverage the people you have connections with. People that's like, you know what, Chris, where do I start? Dr. Aaron, where do I start? You know, the people that are coming into your space are here to help you live a healthy lifestyle, maintain that healthy lifestyle for a long period of time. We're creating a life we don't need to retire from, ever. Okay? And you want to be able to ask yourself the questions, can I walk a couple miles comfortably and safely and have a conversation with my friend? Can I carry my groceries? Can I walk up a flight of stairs without being winded? These are all very basic self-assessment questions you can ask yourself. Okay. Can you hold a plank on your elbows and your knees for 30 seconds? I mean, we can all start anywhere. In my philosophy methodology, no matter whom I work with, is success options for everyone. So whatever's something somebody may have told you, whatever idea you have in your head that you cannot do something, I will go around your challenge and your obstacle, and I will demonstrate and show you a way that you can do it. When you decide that you want to strategically make your health and wellness, your sustainability, a lifelong dedication. This is women who are fighting for themselves, right? This is maintaining your independence.
Mhm.
This is advocating for yourself, taking charge so that you can better equip yourself to make decisions, so you're not putting your healthcare plans strictly on the medical system, on doctors, advocating for things that can align you. Am I running out of time, Dr. Erin?
You know, you're good. And what we're going to do is we'll have you talk more on more.
Because I have one more and we'll stop
Yeah,
right
because I
there.
know you've got that. I know that this is
Yeah.
totally fine. You know, it is going to flow the way it flows. This is great.
Does anybody have any questions so far? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, or put it in the chat.
Yep.
And so those are really great. I mean, just the whole, there's a lot of themes in there. And it's so important that, you know, I've seen in my chiropractic practice, a lot of women who became discouraged with exercise because they went to the gym and they were connecting with like a 25-year-old guy who's going to train them. And it's like, no, we need to do movement that's appropriate to our bodies. And I love, you know, I really love what you said about don't overcomplicate it. And we don't have to be perfect, you know, and wherever you are, you can do something, because whether you're already going to the gym, whether like after my experience when I was younger, I don't like going to gyms, but I love going to yoga classes, and I love to go outside. And it's like, you need to love what you do. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the hormone connection. Okay, because as women, we are different from men because we are more complicated, but I always say that we are like the Ferrari, and maybe they're like the Cadillac or the Lexus, but we're the Ferrari because we have all these hormones. We're very complicated, and we have to be fine-tuned for everything to work. So one of the things that I see all the time one of the main reasons women come to me are two things: energy and weight. They've got weight, they're stuck. They feel stuck, their metabolism is slow. And we do have to look at the hormones and the metabolic health, and exercise and movement helps your metabolic health. So what is your metabolic health? So when you think of hormones, again, it's not just hot flashes and PMS. It is your other hormones. You have your stress hormones. So how many of you have heard of cortisol? Okay. Yay. I love it. I love it. So, and everybody's heard of cortisol now, which is great because it's your fight or flight hormone, which when you get stressed, so it's meant to be like if you're hiking in the woods and a bear comes out, that's going to put you into fight or flight. But there's a lot of women who wake up in the morning and they're stressed right out of the day. Like maybe kids don't want to get dressed and go to school. Maybe you got something blows up in your email for your business. And all of a sudden you are in that fight or flight, and it doesn't have to be like a bear, but it's like a little bear, and the little bear is chasing you all day. And every time you activate your stress hormones, you are raising your cortisol. And here's the other thing. If you activate your stress hormones will be raised for 24 hours. Or for a man, their stress hormones will be raised for 9 hours. Now, the thing about stress hormones is that they can cause weight gain. They can cause low mood. They can cause low energy. And all of these things can cause lack of motivation to move your body. And you end up in this cycle of stress. So that's one really important thing to know about your hormones, and also about your blood sugar hormones. Your insulin hormone is what balances your blood sugar. And insulin is a fat storing hormone. So if you're eating too many carbs and sugars for your particular metabolism, it can actually cause weight gain or cause you to be stuck. And the benefits of exercise is that it helps you become more insulin sensitive. And this is just even walking, walking every day, walking several times a week, doing 2 or 3 sessions a week of some weight training, which I have free weights in this is where I do yoga and free weights and do it in my office. This is my space. I don't like to go to the gym anymore. It's kind of crazy because I used to weight train. So you do that several times a week and you get that on your calendar and you schedule it and you don't overcomplicate it. You can make yourself more insulin sensitive. So even if you have prediabetes or extra weight or a metabolic, adrenal fatigue, you can still exercise because there's a lot of things around if you're too tired or, finding the right time of the day for you. So there is a hormonal connection that can even create that you don't want to exercise, or that by exercising, you can help heal your hormones. So that's just a little bit on the hormone connection. So, Chris, what would you like to add to that? Or, we had a few topics. What would you like to talk about next?
Well, and to piggyback on the endocrine system and the hormones and the chemicals, your body has a pharmacology lab all in itself, inside your head, in your pituitary, and in your adrenals. And just by walking, by moving your body, it activates your brain to start releasing 5 necessary chemicals that your body needs. And they're actually needs. It's an acronym, NEEDS: noradrenaline, epinephrine, endocannabinoid, dopamine, and serotonin. So I know those are big words, so I'm going to break it down, not to overcomplicate. But noradrenaline, that just automatically raises your energy up, and just the act of starting to move your body perpetuates, and you will want to, it's like a body in motion stays in motion. You want to keep moving once you start moving. It's just like if you put your tennis shoes on, put your yoga pants on, set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes. You'll want to keep going because you're already activating that part of your body that wants to keep moving. Okay. Along with epinephrine as well. So endocannabinoids, that's actually the pain response system in your body. The act of moving your body actually releases chemicals in your body that reduces pain, instead of reaching for something over the counter or another product or even a pain medication. If your knees are uncomfortable or have been uncomfortable for a long time, maybe we're holding on to a little extra fluff, right here, pot calling the kettle black, right? My knees will actually be uncomfortable for the first 10 or 15 minutes that I'm walking. And then that endocannabinoid system kicks in and the pain goes away. So it's that little temporary discomfort, just because maybe I've been sitting a long time, our joints get stiff when we don't utilize them a lot. And so moving your body gets all of the fluid moving around your joint spaces, keeps everything moving, gets your lymphatic system moving. So you're getting all the toxins, you're moving your toxins out of the body when you're moving your body. So, again, going back to the body being this magnificent organism with 11 systems that all work simultaneously and in beautiful unison together when we give it what it needs to heal: oxygen, water, nutrition, movement. Okay. And there's so many modalities. And if you don't like one, guess what? There's 50 other ways to move your body. There's 50 ways to go to the gym and exercise, and find one that you'll be consistent with. Doesn't have to be the gym. It could be pickleball. It could be working in your garden. It could be cleaning houses. It could be anything, but it needs to be moderate exercise most days of the week. Okay. Your body weight itself is a great resistance. You don't need to have expensive equipment. You don't need to have heavy dumbbells. You can do a lot of strength training, resistance training, muscle mass preservation. These are all fancy words for maintaining your muscle density by using your own body weight. Okay, so keeping it simple. I'll stop right there, Dr. Erin, and then I'll add on some more.
So we have a question in the chat, and I think was number 5 of your 5, starting with oxygen. Was it connection or was it preserving muscle mass?
I haven't said number 5 yet.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, that's where all. Oh, how funny, Frida. That's funny. I thought it was connection. Okay, so we're waiting. Okay, so you know, if anybody here wants to put in the chat, what's your favorite way of moving your body? We'd love to hear that. So, you know, one of the things that I look at when I work with, you know, I was in a chiropractor for 34 years. I don't do that anymore. I only do functional medicine, work with women's health and hormones and metabolic health. But, you know, the thing is when you have an injury, as I have, it's like it can be very discouraging, and it can create the whole cycle of stress and inactiveness, and then mentally feeling like there's something wrong with you, and it can cause weight gain if you're not moving, and joints can hurt, and when you start moving. So really, it's about finding something, whether it's the easiest yoga class you can go to, easy Pilates, walk. So even in my, one of the things, I didn't even mention, I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach too. And when I work with women, it's like sometimes we're coming from the very basic, like they've been so stressed, they've gone in a downward spiral, they've gained weight, they can barely cope with life. And in our weekly goal setting with the health coaching, one of their goals is to walk around the block 10 minutes twice a week. And, you know, and once they've done that several weeks in a row, it's like it spirals up. We get them out of the downward spiral, because there's not just physical benefits, but there's mental benefits. So it's really, you know, I had to come back from my injury, you know, that I had to learn to walk again. And it's like, I couldn't even bend my knee because I was non-weight bearing in bed with a leg brace from my hip to my ankle. And to even think you have to learn to bend your knee again. And I worked really hard mentally, physically, but mentally, I also did a lot of visualization and meditation about how I was going to move my body. And I'm like almost better than I was before, but it took a lot of work. But it really is like celebrating those little things, like the little exercises, like if you walk around the block for 10 minutes. And because as a chiropractor, I worked with people who had joint pain and needed joint replacements, and they couldn't do a whole lot. And so it really is starting where you are. And I think for me, I think we all need to get out of judgment of our bodies, judgment of ourselves, and be kind to ourselves and not compare ourselves to others, and do what we can do and find what you love to do, because it will help your hormones. It'll help your insulin. It'll help your stress level. And that's a really big thing too, because when you work on lowering your stress with exercise, it helps your adrenals and lowering your cortisol. So those are just a few tidbits there. So
yeah, so the most success I ever had when I had my mind on my game, right? And that's just it, is making a decision and then sticking with it. And it was a 75-day program, and there were 45 minutes bouts of exercise. And yes, I was still teaching classes, but then on the days that I wasn't teaching classes, I would go for walks twice a day, even in the evening. And I never felt better. Walking is such a cathartic, relaxing exercise. You're breathing, you're getting fresh air. Now, see, there's other benefits also to even adding outdoor exercise. You're getting the sunshine, you're getting exposure to nature. And there's other ways to bring in healthy healing modalities that are free. Okay. Um, but what I also wanted to sort of bring to your awareness is taking care of yourself today, loving your future self today is essentially what you're doing. Okay. Imagine where you are, who you're with, what are you doing when you're 80 and 85 years old? Are you running circles around people half your age? Are you jogging or walking up and down the beach with your loved one? Are you, carrying your grandkids around or swinging them around? Are you going to fascinating places and having the energy and the capacity to walk a couple miles without wearing out? I mean, just the things that we're taking for granted today, if we don't preserve the movement and the capability by investing, putting little deposits.
Okay, Chris is.
Exactly right.
Oh, there she is.
Making,
Okay, you froze for a second there.
oh,
just for a couple, maybe say that last sentence again. So.
Making more better choices.
Oh, we like that. Yes.
It's poor grammar, but you know exactly what I'm saying, right? It's not about perfection. It's like, do I sit on the couch and binge watch for 3 hours, or do I maybe spend 30 minutes and go for a walk first, right? I'm not saying you can't relax and have fun. And actually, number 5 is rest and relaxation. Okay, that's number 5, rest. Okay, so yoga can be meditative and rest, proper sleep, right? There's lots of studies about shutting off the devices, 30 minutes or more before you go to bed, nice cool room, nice and dark, no distractions. Rest is also underrated, but we can also get rest by being creative, by meditating, by journaling. Even the act of healthy food prep in your kitchen can be very meditative and a rest. So there's lots, when I said something before about multitasking, there's a lot of these 5 healthy habits that we can actually integrate and do them together all at the same time. And the more intentional we are about adding them in, then we become consciously unconscious, right? It just becomes second nature. It's inherent. It's part of our everyday. And so when you look at your list, okay, I'm breathing, I'm getting my water, I'm eating healthy, I'm moving my body, and I'm resting. What are 2 that I can do together? How can I compact time? Well, maybe I'm walking and I'm drinking my water. Maybe I'm resting, I'm journaling, I'm painting, I'm doing cross stitch, and I'm relaxed and I'm focused on my breathing, right? Amazing how we can compact time by doing a lot of these activities that are very basic human needs. We can do them at the same time and not overcomplicate. But I also want to suggest that loving your future self today is actually allowing you to rebound, have more resilience and quicker recovery in the instance that you do become ill, that you do have an acute injury. Maybe you do need to go have a surgical procedure. There is a time and a place where we do rely on Western medicine, right? In those emergency situations. Having a nice, healthy bank account is going to help you get back on your feet faster so that you can be and do what you're used to doing. If your family is dependent or relying on you, right, you become independent again. You can jump back into the role. So daily deposits in your self-care. Okay, self-care is more than pedicures and bubble baths. You have to move your body. Your body was made to move. Feed it, water it, give it some oxygen, and rest it.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Just like a plant, but we're just the ultimate, I mean, it is keeping it simple. And, I do want to address a couple of the comments in there, about the frustration of starting again, when you have been injured. And, like I talked about earlier, is some of the techniques we use in health coaching is that helping women get started by setting goals, like setting a goal for the week that's not overwhelming. Okay. You're not going to run a marathon. And maybe you don't want to run a marathon. I used to be a runner. I don't want to run a marathon, but what, sometimes when I was doing my physical therapy to learn how to walk again, my assignment was to walk for 10 minutes a day. And then that 10 minutes became a mile. And then that mile became 2 miles. And it took many months to rehab, but the connection between the physical movement and your mental health is really strong. Like, because then you feel like if you're feeling frustrated, like Trina and Farah said that, if you've had some injuries and you really want to find something that does work, even if it's maybe not what you think is good enough, but it could be something. It could be walking around the block once or twice. And then the more you do that, maybe it is a gentle yoga class. And yoga, could hurt your shoulder, of course. And so then what else can you do? What else can you do that may be more walking, maybe riding a bike, or like a stationary bike, or doing something that would be able to work a different part of your body while one part of your body heals. And Kathy says the same thing. Motivation can be difficult when you do get down into that lower the lower mood states. And so, like Chris was talking about the needs, the brain chemicals, it's like if you end up with some low serotonin, it can make you not feel motivated to want to exercise. And so it's almost like you have to break the cycle of stress by doing something. And e-bikes, I hear a lot about e-bikes that that really, actually, I have a lot of people who use those, and it's very, very helpful. So you can still get out and exercise and have a little bit of extra oomph to get up those hills or wherever you're going. So I would just suggest that find something and pick something if you are injured and you're needing to restart, and do one thing. Keep it simple. If it's walking around the block, taking a gentle class of some kind, or even hiring a trainer that is aligned with where you are. Somebody like Chris, but she can't come to your house if you don't live near Chris.
Well, I am virtual, and I have a
you
lot
are
of
virtual.
resources. Yeah, I have a lot of resources, but anyway, but going back to what you said, it's focusing on what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Have that can-do attitude. Your attitude determines everything. And you make that choice. I for a fact know that even people who are bound to a wheelchair or have had lower body injuries in the recovering, you can work your upper body in a chair. There's a lot of things that you can do, and you can get your heart rate up as if you were using your lower body. So they're like success options for everyone. Wherever your resistance is, I can help you peel back the layers of the curtain, and we can get to the bottom of it. And you get to decide what you can do. What are you willing to do? How much is your longevity and your long-term freedom worth to you? Because this is your future independence by working on it today. And forgive me, my eyes are watering all of a sudden. So, yeah, because our bodies are aging, and the things that decline as we get older: balance, coordination, agility, right? When you fall, how quickly can you catch yourself? And agility meaning how quickly can you move your body, not in a stamina sense, but can you catch yourself? Like when you become unsteady. Proprioception is a big word. Relationships of objects in relationship to your body space. Just having that sixth sense, if you will, of knowing where you are in relationship to space and time. These are all things that decline naturally as we get older. And by moving your body, you are actually resetting all of these different, I don't even know what, they're just different fragments of what a healthy style looks like. This is a healthy person who actively engages in moving their body. They have better coordination and balance, as opposed to someone who does not. Maybe they fall and trip more often. So you get to decide. You have a choice, and maybe nobody ever presented it to you in that fashion before. But if you look at somebody, start looking at older adults, and you get to look at them and evaluate. It's like, wow, that person is really on the go. They're doing all the things. I want to be just like that. And then you evaluate somebody who has not, and you know inherently, wow, that's somebody that really hasn't loved themselves enough to take the time to invest in their health, and or maybe they had a condition that made them predisposed to be that way. So there's no judgment. But ladies, if we have it within us, the freedom to be and do, why would we not love our future self today?
Oh, I love that. That's so great. Well, thank you for your words of wisdom and all the information you shared, because there was a lot of really good information in there. And, I just really keep coming back to, as we age, we're not, don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to be perfect. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, and just do something that you like to do. Does anybody have any questions or want to unmute or ask questions or? And Sarah.
Thank you for the information, and my computer might die, so if it does,
Oh, okay.
I'll message Chris. I had a question. Chris, you said we release toxins when we move.
Yes.
Do we do that? And maybe Dr. Aaron too, do we do that if we don't break a sweat? Like if we're walking and we're not sweating? I mean, I live in the tundra, so I am not sweating.
Not everybody
Go
sweats.
for a walk. So do we do it without the sweat? Do we release?
Well, not everybody sweats the same way. Now I flex a muscle and I start perspiring, but that's just me. Everybody's thermostat is set differently. So no, we release toxins through our lymphatics,
Okay.
which goes through our liver and then through our colon, and right, we eliminate toxins, and drinking lots of water also helps facilitate that. But moving the body keeps the joints moving, and I'm not going to go into a lot of physics and physical science, because that would really take us into another dimension. But moving the body keeps everything regulated and everything moving, even your blood, right? I mean, the more you pump blood through your heart, it filters through the liver and through the kidneys, and that's about as complicated as I want to get.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
always think you have to sweat to release the toxins, but that makes sense.
Well, you're still moving circulation through your body.
Yeah.
Like my
Perfect.
husband goes to the gym and he works out for like an hour and a half, and he doesn't sweat. And he's got his heart rate up and he's doing all the things, and he's just not, and so, yeah, I think you just do it anyways. So,
Yeah.
I do want to do one thing, and I'm going to just throw up a quick slide to show how you can get a hold of us. And you will be getting an email. The email will be sent out tomorrow with
Deborah has a question.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Actually, it wasn't a question as much as it was an observation. I came upon a gal, and her name is Myrna Valerio. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's called the Myrnavator. I guess she's been on different news channels and stuff, but she's a heavy set African-American woman who runs marathons. And it blew my mind, because I look at her, and I guess I've always just prejudged and thought, you have to be thin, you have to be, to run a marathon, but she's considered an athlete. And to look at her, she's still overweight, but yet she's running, she's hiking. And it has kind of started to change my perspective about where you have to, when you were saying, start with where you're at, do what your body can do. But she has been, I guess she's got a book too, but it was just kind of an aha moment for me. Because I just never thought that you could look at an overweight person as an athlete. So just thought I'd share that.
I have a woman right now I'm working with, and yeah, I mean, people are all shapes and sizes, and you have to start somewhere. Yeah.
Right,
Now,
right.
the biggest issue is there, is there going to be joint pain from, because every like 10 pounds extra you have does put more joint weight on your joints. But then if you have a
Right.
goal, it's like you're moving towards a goal of getting uh lower in your weight. And Chris had also talked about, it's not all about the scale. And, we call them non-scale victories. So it's about how your clothes fit, the inches, like do your pants. Like I had one woman who started with me recently, and she says, well, I haven't lost a lot of weight, but I've lost 2 belt sizes. It's like, well, there you go. And it's how you feel and how you can move your body. And yeah, so I'm sorry about
Absolutely.
this. I was just going to show us how you can, and I got down this rabbit hole going in the wrong slide.
Oh,
No, well,
it is. It's
NSV,
about how
that's,
you can
Yeah.
move your body,
Yeah.
not
How
anybody
you
else's
move
body,
your
how you
body.
can move your body.
Exactly. And like,
Yeah.
After certain injuries, you're never going to move your body like somebody else who hasn't had that injury. And we have to be very protective about who we are, how we, like that's a part of self-care. It's like, and also having boundaries, like this is how I move my body. And these are the things that I do. I don't do that. I do this. And it's also about not overdoing and over injuring. Because that was what I used to do. And also I see, a lot of patients when I was a chiropractor in practice that were just doing a lot of damage because they were overtraining all the time. So,
so I was going to tie it up with a little statistic here, and if this really hits home, because I do volunteer with the AARP. Do you know that less than 15% of people over the age of 40 engage in healthy lifestyle activities? Less than 15%. Let's all be the exception, ladies.
yeah.
That's a crazy number.
That is a crazy, less than 50. I was floored when I saw that.
Oh,
That is astoundingly low.
yeah,
And
it is. And it's not surprising because the more stressed women get, I mean, the more it is hard to do these healthy lifestyle because you go into a cycle of stress, which actually creates stress eating and unhealthy behavior. And it's not like, and then women think there's something wrong with them, but it's really your hormones are out of whack and you can't cope with stress. And so this is where the intervention comes in as far as also having your hormones looked at. So I'm going to show these slides. I just want to show our contact. You're going to get this in, let's see. Okay. You're going to get this in the email, and I'm going to send out. So I guess this is where we're going to go here. So since my slide's up first, how to work with me. Oh gosh, these are really old slides. I apologize. I am just not getting this right. I apologize. What is going on? Here we go. So if you have questions about your health or hormones, I offer a free call. It's speakwithdrerin.com, and this call is a healthy hormone session that we can chat about what's going on with your hormones, ideas I may have, if there's anything that we can work together on. I have some free stuff. You're going to get the emails in the email, the links for this, but I have a free guide, 5 steps for women to have more energy after 40. And I have my Vibrant Healthy Woman Wellness Club. It's a monthly membership club, but the first call is always free. So if you're interested in knowing more, that is a little bit about me. And then with Chris, I have this is her website and her email. And if you have anything, Chris, that is, free that you want to offer, you can give it to me and I'll put it in the email that I'm sending out tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, and I put mine in the chat because you left out the www in front of the website. So if they try to click on it, it won't come
Yeah.
up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And they're not gonna, yeah. So thank you. Yes. Okay. I will get that
No worries.
for the the newsletter. So ladies, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your input, and I'm going to go ahead and thank our guests. Thank Chris for coming, and we're so glad it all worked out. And I think in our world of Zoom now, it's like, just, we don't stress about stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And thank you for coming.